So today we wanted to talk a lot about mental health, anxiety, depression, and just imbalances that we may see in mental health. And we see this epidemic with especially adolescents. I had a client that's in his, I think he was early 20s, and he said that all his friends in Los Angeles, literally all the children in their teens, are on anxiety medications and it's just normalized. And I know that there's this we should accept everyone culture right now, but I think there's a fine balance of we shouldn't say, oh, it's normal, everyone should get on anxiety meds before trying any other interventions. Do you see this overprescription as an issue? And if you could just share some of your thoughts.
Definitely think we're overprescribing, and unfortunately, the diagnoses are also an issue. I also see that a lot of my daughter's friends who are, by the way, as a side note, vegan and vegetarian, are all on antidepressants. So it is definitely overprescribed. Problem with antidepressants is that, and I do want to mention ADHD though during the discussion because there is a part of it to look at. The problem with antidepressants is that they don't work. They literally, in my book, I cite several references about how they increase suicidal ideation. They all work on the same path, just as benzodiazepines do and antipsychotics do, which is the GABA system. And there's no proof that they work better than placebos for depression. We're going to talk about depression, but they do numb you. But over time, the way the body is made is that their body, if you suppress, so they suppress, right? They are upregulating GABA, which is the calming neurotransmitter, to lower glutamate. But over time, this upregulation will burn out GABA receptors, which is why people who take benzodiazepines have tolerance issues after. They need more, they need more, they need more. The same goes with cannabis and also certain antidepressants, which in the end causes more anxiety. So this is a huge problem. And the thing about adolescence, I got to put girls sort of in perspective, is that recently, when they used to treat girls, with teenagers with ADHD, with Adderall, they're now treating them with HRT. So the boys are still getting Adderall. They're getting Adderall, which is a stimulant, so it lowers brain activity. And they're also getting methylphenidate, which blocks dopamine, which is one of the things we need to talk about today, which is brain overactivity. So we're not fixing anything here. We have to go figure out why there is anxiety, and that's what we're going to talk about today, why there is so much more anxiety in adolescence today. The adolescent brain, well, the human brain doesn't stop growing until we're in our late 20s. But adolescence is when we're building sexual characteristics. And that's when most of my patients come to me. We realize that the problem started when they were adolescents, but at the age when they're building sexual characteristics. And that's when all the hormones change and the dopamine signaling changes. And that's really a time that is very dangerous, but also a time when specifically girls are not eating fat and they are dieting. And today there's an onslaught of social media. So that's overstimulation. That'll be dopamine, the excitatory neurotransmitter. So it's a huge problem. And the other thing is that during this period of time, adolescence, because I'm not going to call 20s to 28 an adolescent, brain is still developing, but this is with the time when we're building sexual characteristics, is when we need 40% more thyroid hormone and 40% more iodine. Otherwise, all this stuff isn't regulated properly. Cortisol goes up when you're till about 3 months old, and then it drops. And then when you're an adolescent and you start forming sexual characteristics, it rises precipitously again, because there's this huge involvement in estrogen and testosterone and thyroid triggering. Basically, thyroid hormone regulates the building of sexual characteristics. And if people are deficient or inflamed during that period of time, this won't work properly.